Princess Swords is your future, and it talks about having a person in your life that's an air sign. It can be Gemini, Libra, or Aquarian that is coming into your life very soon. And they are intellectual, they're focused, they're impulsive, they can't see the woods from the trees because they are always looking for fun and don't tend to think about consequences. They like to take control of situations where you would rather them not. If you don't ask them, they'll go and take control of it anyway. Then you have here the Princess of Summer. This could be at the moment who you're dealing with. You may have a child that is also a cup, is a water sign, Scorpio, Pisces, or Cancer. So you all have that water in your chart, and then you have an air sign as well that's around you in the future. You may be getting downloads about issues relating to family and issues relating to problems with different things in the world. You may have the ability of psychometry where you touch an object and get a download on whoever's last touched that object. You've got unity. Unity is to do with the people around you. You may have an organisation you work for, or you do support work like Lifeline, or you may work for a church group as in volunteering for a big organisation within the building. That's the unity. Then you have the Queen of Cups. This is your counterpart. So your future could lie with a Queen of Cups, and she may be somebody that is heart-centered, loving, emotional, also a carer, could also be a nurse. So you're all in the medical field is what I'm picking up. Listen to your heart, intuitive insights, and you can trust taking care of others perhaps too much. Now, what I was saying before the phone clicked off, and I'm having to go over what I already said, but that's okay. It's saying that you have a Scorpion in your chart. You may have it in placement. It's talking about having a head and heart decision about whether you want to choose a job that is more that satisfies your soul, whether it be painting or music or creating, and also following the white collar role, which is following the nursing role. You have a choice to make, but you've got support around you because all your family members are in the nursing industry, from what I can see here. And what I was saying before is that today is 22 years ago today that I had the vision about my son on top of a building with rubble all around it. And he was 2 and he had a mass of curls, and I said, there's my cherub. And it woke me up out of a deep sleep. I was staying with my mum, and I'd seen that image, and then I'd seen my Uncle Robert come to me and ask me where my mum was. So I pointed in the direction of where she was in the adjoining room. He was wearing a pink shirt, pink long sleeve business shirt, and he was about 20. He came through as a young boy because he's obviously passed over. And he said, I have to tell her something. And then because I woke up with a start, I told my mum, and I said I couldn't go back to sleep, so I put the news on, I turned it down low, and then I quickly got my mum up and said, Mum, something's happening. There was a live footage of 2 towers on fire with a plane. And it was just with the most random thing, and that's where the rubble came in with the tower, is that I had seen this vision of a twin tower. So that was my image of the water signs I've got for today. So some of you might be dealing with a health industry people around you quite strongly. And I'm going to pull 2 cards out of this deck, The Enchanted Map by Colette Baron Reid. Now, I've had her deck for quite a while, already shuffled, so I don't need to worry about that. And I'll cut it in 2 because I'm holding this one-handed because I can't seem to keep it in its holder. I have to get a phone holder. It doesn't like to communicate with its current holder. It upsets its equilibrium and it shuts the phone off. First card I've got is the spark. There is a spark between you and an individual that is building and gathering momentum. Now, they say that a spark is all it takes in order to capture someone's imagination, someone's attention. You may have got this strong feeling, strong pull towards each other, and it's not imagined, it's actually real. it's across the continent. It's to the point that if you live in different parts of the world, which I'm guessing you both live in different parts of the world, one being colder because of the ice, and the other card, which was the Ace of Winter, I'm getting one lives in a colder climate and the other one lives in a warmer climate. There's a spark of creativity in you, and you have every reason to move forward with optimism and hope. Open yourself to inspiration and allow life to show you its beauty and your part in co-creating it. This is the perfect time to give birth to an idea, start a new relationship or job. As you begin your endeavour, attraction is high as you connect with others who can co-create joyous experiences and join you with expressing the finer aspects of life. Watching a spark turn to a flame and stoking that fire is a gratifying activity. You may have fire in your chart as well as water. Stormfields is 9. Now, I find with my psychic gift, how it works for me is if I start to draw or paint or create, then it helps to open up my mind's eye to what I need to see for future activity, what's coming left of field at me, what's coming through the daytime at me. And that can be like, you may be dreaming about someone in your time, which is a different time because it's a different, you're in a different country. So you may be dreaming that you're seeing this person, or you're in your own dream. Now, astral beings can be sensed by other people that are awake in their country. They can see images of what you're getting up to because they're seeing your astral shell, that your astral physical cord, if you will, your astral phantom self is being seen by them in real time, in daylight. So I might say I could see this person that I've been watching on the internet now, he's a reader, and I could swear I was watching him ride past me on a push bike in my time, in my real time, simply because I can see his astral etheric form. This is a new ability I've had since I came back to life. I've not been like this. I never had this ability till I died a couple of times back 6 years ago. I know because I've come back to life, I'm different. I've come back with different abilities, and the abilities have grown stronger. It's like there is no veil between the astral plane and the plane that we're existing on. I can see the dead people that are still walking around like they're still here, but I know they're not here. I know it's what I can sense. I know it's not real. It's not an imagination. It's an imagination, but it's almost like a visit from a dead person that's obviously you're talking about them, so they can hear you. They're around you constantly. I've been told you don't need to go to a graveyard to connect with your grandparents. They're with you when you get up in the morning, when you go to work, when you're in the shower. They're everywhere. So an uncomfortable chaos is surrounding you. Things that you've left unattended may be the cause of some conflict. Pent-up energy needs release, just as a storm in nature must break for these events to occur. When the electricity between opposing forces stirs things up and creates temporary disorder, not all storms are destructive. Rather, they serve nature by bringing rain to the ground and wind to the trees, enabling seeds to be widely distributed and continuous growth to be ensured. Just remember that whatever is being stirred up inside you or between you and another will benefit you later. The sun will shine again, the new growth will be observed, and don't be afraid to shake things up a little. It says to step outside your comfort zone, or outside of your box. If you're creative, you will tend to think outside of the box, which is very handy. If you're working in an industry that needs fresh eyes to help to draw attention to something you're trying to sell, whether it be a cream or an idealized method of how to look after the skin. I was a beauty therapist for about 7 to 10 years, and I worked in a department store. I didn't really do a lot of the waxing or all that. I did that at TAFE, but I haven't used a wax pot in over 7 years. I haven't done a massage, like a proper, orchestrated facial in 7 years, and I had to perform one last week for a job I went for. And I took my little cheat sheet, because you could take a cheat sheet in with you when you work in with a big company like Shiseido or Clarins, and I took it in there and I showed the girl how I would perform the facial according to that business that I work for, and she said I did a good job. And then, because I was really scared, I didn't want to make a mistake, and it's been so long, and I lost my confidence. And then I went and did a massage, and that was fine because I've done recent massages. I do it on my son's. When I was practicing for TAFE, I used to do them at home. My son gets a bad back, bag neck, so I used to help straighten out his spine. But yeah, I was seeing that it all came back. It was like I'd opened a box or a window into a corner of my mind, and there it was. It was not locked away. It all came back, and it was so glad. My grandfather believed. He said, "I believe you'll do it because it's all there. It's just you got to practice it, and it'll come back to you." And it did, because he taught me how to draw. So my drawing helped with my psychic ability. I tend to see things still before they happen or long before they've happened, because I've touched an object that belongs to someone, and that object I might have brought home with me, and then I'll go and have a dream about that person who touched that object. And that happened for me this week. I had a dream this morning about all these racks of clothes, and I had to pick one because I was going on stage for something like a presentation or something. Spoke to my mother today. She works for Meals on Wheels as a volunteer. That's like what I was talking about before, volunteering for a church group. And she brings home meals for me because they get to take home meals because they give them out to the elderly in homes. But also, Mum took 3 meals for me, and that was really good of her. When I touched one of those meals, and last night I had all these dresses and stage, and she said she just had a cup of tea with a lady who went to Sydney to get a dress for her daughter's formal, some sort of formal she was going to. So that was what I was seeing. I was in this huge shop, and all these dresses. I had to pick one, and she said that's what she had done the weekend before, in Sydney. So that's the sort of thing that I do. That's my ability. People don't always understand or like it. I'm a little bit afraid to touch base or advertise things about my sons because I don't want anyone to target them because of my ability. It's association, they might think, oh, they've got the same ability.